Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Live and Lily. I know it's been forever. I've had a lot of changes, when it comes to my podcast. I haven't really been that consistent. I own that. However, I've had a lot of stuff go on in my life, and I've been going through a lot. I've had a lot of changes. I've had a lot of growth. I've had a lot of big, huge things happen in my life. I just moved back to my hometown about 6 months ago. I know 6 months seems a long time, but these days, time has just been flying by. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older. My birthday's on the 23rd of this month. It's the 9th of April that I'm recording this in 2023. Today, I've just done a big cleanup of my house. I've reorganized my living room. I did my bedroom a little while ago, doing laundry, clean up the kitchen, just a lot of stuff. But the biggest, most exciting thing that I want to talk about is I received my file from the ministry. It just came in less than a week ago. It kind of knocked me on my ass to read it for the first time. It was a lot to digest and process about, my childhood and the things I went through. However, that is a big part of my journey, and it wasn't until I knew the truth that everything made sense. I've been working for the last few years on regulating my emotions, just being okay, functioning and not feeling crazy, and finding the ability to follow my dreams and my passions and not let life keep knocking me down, and knowing the truth just blasts it all out, and I'm like, wow, everything makes sense. And I have written one book, as you guys already know, The Adventure of Jilly Jones. That was from what I could remember. I put in the very bare bones basic because I knew that there was something I was missing. That's probably the better way. So in November of 2019, I requested my file through Freedom of Information Act here in Canada to get my file from the ministry from when I was born till when I aged out at 19. And I gotta tell you, there's a lot of stuff that they give you. And, I'm talking about, I have doctor's notes from, when I was 5 and I was essayed and all this stuff, right? Psychologists and all these tests I did, these developmental tests, I found out about my birth mother and the choices that she made and how many times she said she was going to show up for a visit and then she never did. And then all the horrible fucking, pardon my language, attachment issues I got from that, right? And even, other things, like the environments I was in, the different foster homes, it was very conflicting at first, too, because, it took me a long time not to hate certain people in my life, and now reading these things, I'm glad I don't hate them anymore, because I'm able to kind of be okay, I know I was a kid, I know I was a teenager, and I know I was a lot to deal with, but I was also just going off of my experiences and reacting from the trauma and the ongoing trauma, and it really puts everything at peace, don't get me wrong, right now I'm at the stage of I'm taking all the documents and I'm putting them out into each year, sectioning them, so 2007, all that kind of stuff, and all the documents from 2007 go in 2007 and 2008. That was just the number that I have a fat stack from, because it was a huge stack. It was, I don't even know, a foot high. I don't know how big a foot is. So, it was, from, I don't know, because we all have different size feet. I don't know. It was a fat stack that I'm working through. I got halfway through of organizing it. There's way more. And yeah, I have TikTok. I have TikTok now, by the way, where I've gotten a little bit more comfortable with having, talking more, on camera. I'm still shy as fuck, and pardon my language. I'm very excited. When I'm passionate and excited, I sometimes swear a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I have my computer all set up. The cool thing about it being my birthday is this is the perfect time for me to receive these documents because this is my personal new year on the 23rd of April. It is when my personal new year begins, and this is the one time a year I'm like a spring bunny, I guess you could say. I'm excited, I'm ready, and everything that I do now is I'm preparing myself for the rest of the year. So I'm excited, and I reached out to someone I knew from where I lived before, and he has a publishing company, and I let him know that I got the documents. I told him I didn't know how long it was going to take, because I don't know. Pardon my language again, it could take me a year, it could take me 6 months, it could take me a few years. I don't know when I'm going to be ready, but I'm starting it, and I'm so excited. And yeah, I'm going to get back to my scheduling. I'm going to just be reposting old ones, old podcast episodes, just because I am a creator. And normally when I do my podcast, it's more of like a reflect. Like, I do a bunch of work and then I reflect on it. I come to terms with it. I integrate it, or I'm really close to fully integrating it into my life and my everyday life. And then I record a podcast episode because I love sharing that with you guys. But I only like doing that when I know that what I've learned is truly authentic to me before I share it, right? Like, because sometimes we go through different things and we learn different things, and the impact they have on us could just be a stepping stone to getting us to that final conclusion, right? And that's what my podcast is. My podcast is, I've done some work, I've worked through it. Some of the old episodes I know are me crying in the old town I lived in, and those are important too, because those show the raw, authentic truth of what I went through, right, in that town, of, what I was dealing with, and the safety problems and all this stuff. And now that I'm in my hometown, I feel safe, I feel comfortable. I'm home, right? This is my home. This is where I grew up. I've been trying to come back here for 15 years, but 15 years ago I was 10 years old, right? So, yeah, I guess almost 16 now. But, yeah, I guess a little bit more about me is I read tarot cards. I have a few tarot videos up on TikTok. That's something I'll do here and there. I'm a writer. I like to write. I've written 3 books. What else? I like to paint. I like to draw. All these different things. And all this stuff will just kind of come back. And how I set up my business, my podcast, is I used to be very all over the place. Like, I'd go in cycles. Like, I could never hold on to something for too long. So I'd put a bunch of hard work. I have ADHD and all this other stuff too, which makes sense. And I'll go into that more too as well. Because I have a lot of mental health stuff, like topics to talk about. However, since going through some of these documents, I've actually been able to be like, okay, I don't actually have like the full understanding yet, because there's like, I was told so many different things, and then I'm learning it, right? Like, I'm missing the majority of my life. So you guys get to come on a journey with me, kind of understanding who I am and where I came from and how I got here and all the different things that impacted me. And I'm so excited to put it into a book, and I'm so excited to write about it, to talk about it, to share it, because my goal with all of this is to inspire others. At the end of the day, I don't know, I feel like this is my calling, right? Like, this is, it played out the way it was supposed to in order for me to be able to share it, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know, like, I remember being a kid and having this Mickey Mouse journal, and, I totally had chicken scratch writing, but I remember trying to write out my life, like, this is where I was born, this is how many foster homes I've been in, this is what happened, like, I remember trying to do that, but I was way too young. This was before I got adopted, so this was, like, before I was 10, But I just knew in my heart and in my soul I had to share my story. And, a big part of me even getting here is I used to really struggle so much to function. I couldn't even do what I'm doing right now. Let alone I couldn't even talk to people without crying. I was so sensitive to rejection, whether it be coworkers, bosses, people on the street, anything. Like even friends, family, like I just have a full down breakdown, and sometimes I end up in the hospital. I'm talking like a long time ago, right? And I got stronger and stronger, and I started to find my peace. But one thing for me that really helped me was when I started getting on like social media, whether it was YouTube or Instagram. TikTok's been another huge one since I finally got on that one. It took me a while to get on there because I heard so much stuff about it. But I started finding these people who had gone through similar things and felt similar emotions, or what they described they felt was similar to me. And they'd gotten past where I was in that very moment, you could say. And them being able to get past it and to talk about it inspired me to learn how to do that for myself, right? It had been something I'd been trying to do for so long, I didn't know how to do it. And so that's what I want to do. I want to do that for others. I want to do that in different ways. I want, I want to have my YouTube channel, my podcast, my TikTok, like all these things to be like places to reach different types of people that need to hear my story. That, like when I first started this podcast, like I didn't even know if anyone would listen to it. Like I needed it. Like I did it almost for me more than I did for anyone else. I'm not gonna lie, just because I was so alone and I didn't have anyone in my life who would listen or hear me, like truly hear me. So when I'd hit record and I'd talk to you guys, I would imagine that like I'm back in the day before I was born, obviously, like no TVs, no nothing, and all you had is the radio, right? And it used to comfort me thinking that there'd be all these people that I didn't know hearing me. It didn't matter who you were or where you were or what you were doing, to know that someone out there knew I existed and could hear me express myself and the deepest parts of myself that took so long to be able to express. It gave me the foundation to do that, and it was through that foundation that I've found the strength, and I've continued to find the strength, and I've continued to embrace it and work with it and branch off from it as I've gotten stronger. And that's, at the end of the day, that whole process that I just described, I hope that it might inspire someone to find their own way of doing that, Like, that means the world to me, because I know how much it helped me, and I know how much it changed my life, and I'm so grateful for that, and I'm so grateful for all of you. I'm grateful for every single person in the whole entire world, and just everyone, I mean, that's a large statement, and there's a lot of people that make a lot of choices, like, it's so hard because, like, there's so much shit going on in the world right now, that it's hard because, like, there's a lot that comes with that statement in my own mind when it comes to expressing it to others. But when I take that statement and I kind of like explain what it means to me, is I'm just grateful to be alive and to be experiencing life and all that comes with it, with people and I'm grateful for the opportunity to get to see the world, you know. But I know this is a short one. It's only 15 minutes, but I love you all. I kind of was running myself off there for a little second, and like that's what I mean about like I only feel comfortable sharing things, and when I've come to this place of when I'm speaking on it, I'm able to be like, this is exactly how I'm feeling. This is, you know, where I stand on this. And with that thing I was talking about right at the end there, that's something that I still have a lot of questions about. I still have a lot of learning and growing and coming to my own understanding of what that means and what that is, and how to word it properly. A huge thing for me is, how do I express it? You know, I feel things, I experience things, I come to these understandings, I have all these beautiful things I want to say, but sometimes I'm not given the words yet because it's not meant to come out yet. And so I just trust the process. And today is Easter Sunday, so I wish you all a beautiful, happy Easter, and I look forward to continuing this journey with you. Bye.